Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you did rom-com stuff in real life? You think it would be sweet and funny? No, it is terrifying, as you will soon see. Hi all, I'm not even sure where to start. Neither am I. What subreddit are we in? Doesn't matter. I'm not a regular Redditor, but I do sometimes browse the site when bored. I looked online to see if I could find any information regarding my issue. Well, at least I didn't find anything helpful. Never, though, did I think I'd be making this kind of post, but here I am. Apologies if this gets long. I haven't really been able to gather my thoughts. It is long as hell. The whole length of this video, it's this post. So let's grin and bear it. Background. So I, 32 female, met my now husband, 37 male, age gap. We will call this husband Dave, which is not his real name. We met about 5 years ago. We've been married for 2.5 years now. We have an adorable 20-month-old daughter, and I am currently 4 months pregnant. Oh God, dude. With kids involved, yeah, this is unfortunate already. We just bought a house a couple of years ago in the suburbs outside of a larger metropolitan area. Dave was an acquaintance of a coworker, Mark. So about 5 years ago, I started to see him frequently at the bar that we'd go get drinks at after work. I'll admit that at first, I wasn't particularly attracted to him. Not that he's ugly, he just wasn't the type that I was into at that point in my life. That's pretty non-specific, but okay. Anyway, when Dave started coming around, he would, after a while, try to chit-chat with me. It was obvious he was interested, but I tried to decline his advances as gently as I could. He was persistent, and one night, after maybe one drink too many, I agreed to go on a date with him. Oh, it's another bad date story with a terrible ending. I shouldn't be so excited for that. This is somebody's life crumbling around them. But I mean, it's already happened. What is there to do but enjoy the show? Maybe provide a little bit of levity. I remember the date started out a little bit awkward, as our previous encounters had always been within a group, so it was the first time that it was just the two of us. He was biding his time, wasn't he? Certified beta orbiter. I'll admit that I didn't really even want to be there. I had considered canceling, actually, but I was having really bad luck dating at that point. More on that later. So I decided that since I had no other plans, why not? Well, I think you're about to find out exactly why not. But let's see. The date started out slow, and it was mostly just Dave talking for the first half. And then after a while, he started bringing up some topics which I was interested in. A hobby and a particular cause which I felt strongly about. The second half of that date was much better, and I was kind of surprised to learn that Dave and I actually had some things in common. Oh yeah, great things in common, that's super cool. I was still hesitant, but I decided to give Dave a chance. And although he definitely liked me a lot more than I liked him in the beginning, our relationship slowly began to grow, and eventually, I fell in love with him. Yep, just 100% rom-com scenario right here. When's the bottom fall out? Since then, I would say that we've had a really good relationship. He's my best friend, an excellent father, and a great husband. Furthermore, he's a good provider as well. Once our daughter was born, we decided that it made the most financial sense for me to quit my job and stay at home. It was a role that I admittedly was not 100% on board with in the beginning, but when we looked at the numbers, it really was just the most logical decision. Financial dependence? Check. No. Sometimes logic isn't the way to go, maybe. Sometimes you listen to your heart, maybe. Despite my initial hesitancy, I have since grown to love it. I honestly couldn't imagine having to spend so much time away from my daughter, but I recognize that because of my husband, we are in a very fortunate position to do so. I know that many families cannot live off of just one income. Honestly, samesies on this side, and yeah, thank Jesus. Whoever you want. The door's just opened, and yeah, I don't know how I got into this position, but it's great. Thank you to everyone who watches this video for allowing me to live like that. Super fortunately. I didn't want to give away too much personal information, so I'll only say that my husband works in IT. We're not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but we are able to live a modest middle-class lifestyle on just my husband's income. Except for those rare couple fight things between my husband and I, things have been generally really good. We got along well, and up until last night, I would have said that my life is ideal. Alright, buckle your seatbelts.
Seatbelts, everyone! Please let this be a normal field trip.
Here we go, the first big drop. He fudged the numbers to make you quit your job. He looked up your social media and pretended to like the things that you were into. I haven't read it yet either, but I'm just preparing myself to be horrified. So here's the issue. Like many people, my husband had been working at home since the whole coronavirus mess started. It took a little bit of adjustment, but it hasn't been too bad. As my husband works in IT, his work hasn't been disrupted too much by having to work remotely. I think the change in environment has been the biggest issue. To stay connected, my husband's been meeting virtually once or twice a week with friends or coworkers. Last night he was playing games with his little brother, Tom, a 37 male, and a couple of his friends. While playing these games, my husband had a few beers. He rarely drinks, but since the lockdown, he's been having 2 to 3 beers, usually on Friday nights, while meeting virtually. That sounds fine. Night with the boys. But a drunk tongue speaks a sober mind, you know? This is not a problem in my opinion. Oh good, we agree on that. I only mention it because he doesn't have much of a tolerance for alcohol. This is relevant because last night he had more than his usual 2 to 3 beers. Oh boy, you done goofed.
I am not drunk.
Can you tell the time?
I am not fucking drunk.
So after I put our daughter to bed, I checked my cell phone to see that I had a message from Tom's girlfriend. They'd been dating for about 1.5 years now, and since they only live about an hour away, we frequently double date. I like Tom and his girlfriend, so I was super excited when I opened her message to see that they were now officially engaged. It was in a big group chat, so it was filled with messages of congratulations. I noticed that in one message, Tom had written, "Big thanks to Dave, without whose advice I never would have gotten this far." Yeah, sussy.
You sussy bata.
Oh, God, dude. I personally thought it was very sweet. Seemed like they were looking to us as an example. But something didn't sit quite right with you, did it, OP? Things got a lot worse from there, didn't it, OP? I immediately ran downstairs to my husband to talk to him about it. I knew he was playing games with Tom, so he obviously must have known earlier about the engagement. I sat on the couch and we started talking about how long Tom had been planning this out, how much did the ring cost, when was the wedding, etc. I noticed that Dave was a little bit drunk, which I guess was the result of him celebrating his little brother's next step in life. While cuddling, I mentioned to him what a good example he was to Tom, and this is where it all began. Oh boy, he's gonna lay out the whole nasty plan, not just for him, but also his little brother. Proof positive that a rom-com would just be a terrible idea in real life. This isn't romantic, it's creepy and horrible. Okay, we're not even there yet. Okay, keep going. The whole night was such a whirlwind that I don't even remember every little thing, but basically, Dave told me about how he helped Tom to make his girlfriend, now fiancé, fall in love with him. I asked what he meant, and he went into this whole story, which I had never heard before, about how he got me to fall in love with him. The true story of how we met, how we fell in love, how our relationship blossomed. Oh God, I'm terrified already. Dave was clearly drunk, and I was just so shocked that all I could do was stupidly smile and act like everything was no big deal. I think this just made him open up even more. Oh, okay. Here goes. The real story, according to my husband, is that he found me on a dating site about half a year before we ever met. He claims that he initially sent me a message, but that I just ignored him. He looked kinda hurt when talking about this, but I told him that women get hundreds of messages a week on those sites, and there was just no way that I could read through all of them, much less respond. He claims that I did read his, but no response. He said that we ranked very high in compatibility and had a lot of the same interests, and that he just knew we'd make the perfect couple. 6 months before they ever met. Already, the stalking begins. If you're on a dating site, delete your profile now. Your whole life might be a lie without you knowing it. What the hell? So apparently after this, he started just creating a bunch of fake profiles. He stole pictures of very attractive men from social media profiles. He said he would make minor changes so as not to be reverse searched. I never even considered that. He's terminally online is what I'll say. He works in IT. I'm sure he's got thousands of shell accounts. But to bring all that into real life and like invent people and stuff, I don't know, man. This is pretty freaking weird, man. So using these profiles, he basically began catfishing me. Over the course of a couple months, he was able to initiate conversations with me on numerous occasions on different profiles. And eventually at some point, I guess I mentioned where I worked. Holy shit. He said he then spent hours searching through Facebook and LinkedIn before he found my picture. At that point, he had my name and started hardcore stalking me online. He had created numerous social media profiles, some of which I accepted as friends or followers, so then he was able to stalk my life. Okay, delete the dating profile, don't accept any randos on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm trying to keep track of all this, but really the true blame lies with the dude. Like, what made you think it would be okay to go this far? And amazingly, it all worked out because nobody would ever suspect another human being of doing this. But then you got drunk enough to lay it out like it's this fun little story. Holy shit. It's not even the worst part yet. It's not even the worst part yet. After a couple months, according to him, he started stalking me in real life. I'm sure he didn't use that phrasing, but yeah, that is what it is. He said he started going to hang out at the bar that we always went to after work and befriended Mark, a coworker of mine. Dude, what the fuck? Mark worked in IT, like Dave, and although nice, he was socially awkward and a bit of a loner. Yeah, that checks out. He works in IT, what'd you expect? I was always surprised when he would join us for happy hour because he usually would just sip on his beer and not say anything. Anyway, I guess Dave started stalking Mark and became his friend, somehow. So then, when we'd meet for happy hour, Dave would invariably start to hang out with my group of coworkers and I. It seemed to work out well because Dave was pleasant, and Mark seemed to open up a little bit more when he was around.
Red leader, infiltration has been completed.
Dude, this is so unusual. Like, none of this stuff would ever cross my mind, man. How thirsty and cum-brained and dumb are you to be like, oh, I have to stalk this. She's the one for me. Real life is not a romantic comedy, and none of this is okay. All right, so this went on for like a month, and then Dave started trying to hit on me. He really bided his time, didn't he? Again, he's not a bad-looking guy, but he just wasn't my type. After a month or two, I eventually agreed. As mentioned before, I was drunk and really having terrible luck at the dating game. My bad luck was actually Dave's fake profiles. All-out psychological warfare, undercover simp ops on a dating app. This story had twists and turns I'd never expected. But I've been told that the real loops are still somewhere ahead. And I'm so scared. I kept chatting with guys who I thought I would have really gotten along with. In some cases, we chatted for weeks. And then when it was time to meet, I kept getting blown off. And it was a huge hit to my self-esteem. One night, after waiting for over an hour for my date to show up, I finally went back to my car and just cried. Damn, dude. It's like he doesn't see you as a human being and doesn't realize that his actions have an actual effect in your life. It's just a funny rom-com story, right, honey? I just couldn't understand it. And honestly, I was starting to have doubts about myself. One particularly cruel episode was after another date with one of Dave's fake profiles. I received a text message which said something like, I didn't look as good as my pictures, and he accused me of catfishing him. The next week, during our happy hour, was when I finally agreed to go on a date with Dave.
Oh, what a tangled web
I guess he essentially tore me down so that I'd feel like shit and agree to go out with him. When I asked him about all the different phone numbers, he claimed that he had bought a few burner phones. Like, what the hell? I'm honestly surprised that you didn't question that a little bit more, but I don't know. He set this whole thing up so meticulously, it wouldn't cross anybody's mind to think like this unless you already think like this. And obviously Dave's little brother does think like this because he manipulated a milady of his own in exactly the same way and thanked him publicly for all... Jesus! Just take a moment to imagine yourself in OP's shoes, sitting down with your spouse and 2 kids and a mortgage and listening to them confess all of this. Would it not tear down the fabric of reality for you? You put all your trust and time and investment in this one person and it was all a lie. You're not just gonna have a little fight and get back together. You damaged another human being for your own ends, Dave. And I don't know if there's some part of your family's brain missing or something, but how would your brother think that's okay? All right, I gotta move on. I gotta get through this before I really do explode. OP says, but wait, it gets worse. Don't say that. Don't say that. Something I've never told Dave about was that when we started first dating, I was actually talking with someone else. I was not completely into Dave like he was into me at the beginning. So when this gorgeous guy began messaging me on the dating site that I was using, I started chatting with him. After constantly being blown off on dates, I was very cautious when talking to Alex. So even though things seemed to be going well, I still kept talking to Dave as well. I wanted to be sure that Alex wasn't just another asshole before I made any decisions with Dave. I mean, you could keep one on the back burner. It's not the nicest thing to do, but you're well within your rights. You're not committed, you're dating. You're not going steady, are ya? You take that gal down to the malt shop. So, Alex and I went on our first date, which was absolutely great until the end. Oh, Alex is a real person. Great. The date was off to a good start because, you know, he actually showed up, lol. And he was even more handsome in real life. I couldn't believe that someone like him was so interested in me. As I said, my self-esteem was absolutely in the gutter by now. So the date goes great. We get along, we're laughing and staring into each other's eyes. I haven't felt this kind of connection ever. I remember my heart fluttered and I got butterflies in my stomach. I honestly thought it was love at first sight. Up until the end, it really was a magical night, like something out of a movie. This whole thing is like something out of a movie. Everybody here is Hollywood poisoned. Real life doesn't work this way, please. It is wild, but it's not supposed to be this wild. Alex is just gonna be one of Dave's friends or something, right? So we had a couple of glasses of wine, but neither of us were drunk, but we were feeling pretty good. After we got out of the bar, we started making out a bit in the parking lot behind it, and I just felt so good in that moment. And I really thought that I had finally found a guy who I connected with. And it had been a while since I'd been with anyone, so I lost myself a bit in the passion and suggested that Alex come home with me. I mean, girls got needs. Not something I'd do, but you're welcome to make requests. I still remember the way that Alex's face just dropped. His beautiful blue eyes just became as cold as ice, and his body just tensed up. He stepped back and said, "Sorry, I'm not into sluts," and walked off.
Damn!
God damn! Was this all planned out from the beginning? Oh my god! It's like a knife to the gut. It was one of the most devastating moments of my life. I mean, dudes are used to being blown off like this all the time, but for a chick, it really is a soul-crushing moment, isn't it? I never would have guessed something like that would happen. Not after the night we just shared, and honestly, I was in shock. I thought it was maybe a stupid joke, but he seriously just turned and walked away. He's cold, man.
That was cold-blooded!
After what felt like forever, I realized he really wasn't coming back. That really is just like such a shift. Maybe you would think he was playing a prank. At this point, I swear, I had a full-on breakdown. I remember that my stomach just felt like someone had punched me, then began painfully twisting it. I couldn't breathe and just began full-on sobbing. All of this was engineered, including the comment where we called her naughty name. You could have just said no, politely declined like a gentleman. Although the couple times I've had to do that, people are like, what are you, gay? Yeah, sure, that's it. I am now. I don't remember if anyone saw me crying in the back of that bar parking lot or not, but no one came up to me or said anything. I mean, crying drunk girl, I probably don't get involved. I cried all the tears I could, and after there was nothing left, I managed to catch my breath after a while, and I finally walked home. Dude, this is some supervillain type of shit right now. I had some very dark thoughts that night. I couldn't stop beating myself up, ruining what I thought was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Honestly, even during my marriage, I still frequently thought about Alex. For me, he was the one that got away, and I had blamed myself for years. Oh, it goes so deep. Jesus Christ. I am shocked and horrified, and how would you deal with this? How would you not stab him in his sleep that very night? I guess I should mention that the Saturday night when I went out with Alex, I had actually canceled plans with Dave. Dave did all of this on purpose. When he texted me the next day to go mini golfing, I was only too happy to go. Looking back, I seriously attached myself to Dave after that, and our so-called fairy tale love grew from then on. He broke you down to your lowest low so he could come back and pick up the pieces and build you in the way he wants. Is there anything prosecutable in this story? Because I'm pretty sure there's something here, right? At least put the guy on a list or something. What the fuck? So, why is all of this worth mentioning? I've already put it together in my head, OP, but yeah, lay it down flat. Last night, while Dave was proudly telling me about all that he had done in order to be with me, he mentioned that he had even paid a guy to date me. Oh. When I inquired further, he told me about how Alex was actually paid by Dave to go out on a date with me. The idea was to do a couple of dates and then ditch me. I guess to wreck my self-esteem? I don't even know. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Holy God, dude. We've officially just begun the countdown to Dave's Cold Case Files episode, right? But yeah, I was in absolute shock. I had never mentioned Alex to Dave, and we had only exchanged messages for a couple of weeks. And even then, it was only one date. I didn't want Dave to know that I'd been talking to other guys in the beginning, so of course I wasn't going to mention it. So that just made this whole thing all too real. My mind is I can't even make words. Is this real life? I'm gonna cope by just hoping it's not. But humanity is a rich tapestry, and that includes some really ugly parts. What the hell? Dave seemed to have found all of this funny. Yeah, Dave thinks we're in a fucking rom-com when really you've just stolen 5 years of this person's life by lying to her, attached her to you indelibly by way of these children and house and... Oh, this is breaking my mind. I'm sure it broke OP's mind 1,000 times more. So Dave told me all about how he reached out and found some broke, aspiring male model who lived in a city a couple of hours away. Yes, but why male models? So Dave offered to pay this guy to set up a profile and chat with me and then go out on a few dates. How much? How much did he pay? I don't know why it's important to me, but it is. I don't know if Alex was just desperate for cash or a legitimate asshole, but either way, he agreed to this proposition. Alex is an actor doing what he's gotta do. He goes where the money goes. Dave is the true evil person here for putting up the money at all. He needs to be committed. Mental hospital now. As per Dave, the idea was that Alex would, after a few dates, basically start to act like an asshole and eventually would stop seeing me. Per Dave,
so that I could learn how to appreciate what I have rather than chasing a fantasy.
holy shit, man. Big Naruto headband unfortunate vibes right there. I hate him. You are just the worst type of person. She could have found somebody. Somebody she legitimately wanted without being manipulated into it. I'm so done, dude. Divorce is not enough. Pretend to make it up to him and poison him. No, don't do that. ReddX lawyers have informed me that that's not appropriate. Although it would be slightly funny. Continuing on, Dave says, Alex saw an opportunity right away when I threw myself at him, and he took it. I asked him why he would do something like that, and Dave's response was,
that I was a dumb girl who was chasing guys out of her league, and that I needed a reality check to see that the best guy for her was right in front of her face.
Oh, good. Makes me sick. This is a new low that we're reaching right now. How did it go this deep? The aftermath of this one night of drinking is going to be immeasurable. Not just Dave, but also OP's probably going to drop the bomb on Tom. Be like, hey, you know you got manipulated into marrying that loser? My mind is just, it remains blown. Up until now, I think I had been smiling and generally in disbelief about the whole thing, which only encouraged him to keep going. But the story about Alex just horrified me. I literally had a panic attack after that night with Alex. And looking back at it now, I don't think my self-esteem / confidence ever truly recovered. I asked Dave how much he had paid Alex, and he told me $1,000. $1,000 fucking dollars for for the girl of your dreams. 5 years of her life for $1,000. God, I would love to see somebody ventilate your skull. Honestly, Alex should have stuck to the script as well. I gotta blame him a little bit. Calling her a slut and walking away from her instead of just like ghosting her, yeah, probably did give her a really big blow to her self-esteem. And that's why she ended up with Dave. She clung on to him. And he engineered all of it. All of it! Oh, God! He's a fucking monster!
You're a monster!
You don't think people like this truly exist, and then you read this and you're like, how can I refute any of it? It probably does happen. And he thinks it's a funny, cute thing out of a rom-com. When really, I'm pretty sure everybody here would like to strangle him with a piece of piano wire. $1,000. Okay, so what's happening with you now, OP? What is the aftermath? She says, after Dave admitted about Alex, I immediately went upstairs and went to bed. I guess Dave had another couple beers and passed out on the couch. I saw him in the morning and he was painfully hungover. I had only one other time in my life seen him as drunk as he was last night, and that was many years ago. I wanted to ask him if it was all true what he said last night, but I know that it is. Yeah, how would he know about Alex otherwise? He just knew way too many details. He was too hungover anyways to have a coherent talk now. Plus, he could say that he doesn't remember anything, which he almost definitely would. It's amazing how he says, don't live in this fantasy, blah, blah, blah. And then you've gone this whole anime villain route. And you actually got away with it. If it wasn't for those meddling beers. Thank God, though. Yes, your life has been torn apart, but it's better 5 years in than 10 years in. You know what I'm saying? It's time to get the hell out. OP says, I really don't know what to do. Or if there is anything to do. Yeah, because he has her financially dependent on him now. Oh my God. I am horrified and absolutely shocked at what I learned. I suppose that I had overly romanticized our relationship and marriage, but now it just doesn't seem real. Please don't stay, OP. Come couch surf on some people's couches for a little bit. I don't know, but then you got the kids involved in all this. Oh, And I'll tell you the reason you overly romanticize your marriage and it doesn't seem real, because it wasn't real. None of this was real. But I have to admit that I am also perversely very flattered. Oh my God. What's that called? Stockholm Syndrome? Something like that? Please don't negotiate yourself into accepting this. Please. This is insane. And you have to know that. God damn it, dude. I think the ending is really the most tragic part of all. You don't know what to do or how to reconciliate it? That's fine, just start by running. My husband is not a lazy man, but he does struggle to make and keep plans. The story that he told me last night seems almost unbelievable. And like I said, if it wasn't for the details, I would say there's no way that he's capable of such a thing. That a man would spend so much time and effort just to be with me, although creepy, also does seem a bit romantic. Maybe? Oh my God. You're all poisoned by media. This is not a... Stop justifying it to yourself! He studied you, he stalked you, he catfished you, he broke your self-worth into nothing, and now she only really sympathizes with him because her self-esteem is garbage thanks to him. It really is the most tragic part of the story. What the fuck are you talking about, OP? Where is your righteous anger? What is this? Where is justice? God damn it, this story just about killed me. There's only a little bit left to go, okay. I don't want to bring any of this up to any of my friends or family. Why? Burn it all down and get out! The internet seems like my only option. I don't know what to tell you, man. You're really just gonna convince yourself that all this is fine? It's not my life. I can't tell you how to live, but this is fucked. OP says, I guess I'm looking for some outside perspective on this. Also, is this normal at all? What the hell? No. No, it isn't. I mean, have any guys out there manipulated a situation or event to an extreme degree so as to be with a girl? I'm sure they have, but most, if not all of them, are creeps. Those beers he drank were some fucking divine intervention, and it's time for you to run or bear the fruit of the rot that has been sown, or something like that. Ladies, also, do you know if your man has ever done something like this? Get the fuck out of here with that. We're not normalizing any of this. This is insane. Prosecute, lock him up. He can't just get away with it and be like, yep, I catfished her into being my wife and planted my seeds in her. You lied. You built it all on a lie. Holy shit. And way at the beginning when they shared interests, I guarantee he was stalking the social media. She just didn't mention that part. Is he who he actually pretends to be? Nobody even knows. This is a Lifetime movie right here. OP's last paragraph. Up until last night, I had a great, loving husband, a beautiful family, and a life that most would kill for. Technically, nothing has changed except what I now know. Since everything was so good, do I even ever bring it up again? What the hell?
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Perhaps I should just accept that my husband wanted me so bad that he went to insane measures to make that happen, and just be happy with the great life that I have. I just don't know. Maybe I should see a therapist. Yeah, maybe. I can't even start to unpack this in a freaking YouTube video for you, okay? But yes, definitely see a therapist. Insane degrees is an understatement. Just start by running, please. Don't subject your children to this when they make invisible friends online on social media and it's actually their dad the whole time. That's where all of this is headed. You realize that, right? OP says, I just feel so lost right now. I have no idea what to do, if anything. Exact your revenge, OP. I don't know if there is any precedent or case law for things like this, but there damn well should be. ReddX Industries would take the case if there was any lawyers employed here. It's basically just me saying allegedly a lot. TLDR, I found out that my husband had stalked and manipulated me in the beginning of a relationship, including catfishing me and even paying someone to go on a date with me and be a jerk so I would fall in love with him. Wow, dude, I don't even have the words to process this. I understand 100% why OP is trying to convince herself on some level that maybe some part of this is okay, but it's not, man. It's time to get up and out, dude. This situation is not going to improve. This guy is a maniac, a madman, a lunatic. And the fact that it worked out for 5 years, the stars aligned for that one moment on that night. If he hadn't thanked his brother for helping him to manipulate his girlfriend, if the dude hadn't drank that many beers, like so many stars aligned to tell you to get the hell out of this relationship, OP. And if you stay in it, I can't really have much sympathy for you. Yes, new beginnings are scary, but at a certain point, it's time to unfuckle the seatbelt and open the door, just tuck and roll. You're probably gonna survive. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, we're gonna have a few setbacks as far as our lifestyle goes. But I guess the question is, how okay are you with living a lie? Oh, jeez, man. I hope this one gets an update. Or actually, maybe no, I don't, because maybe she will just pick that bad road and be like, I don't know, I'll stay with him. And that will literally kill me inside. So let's just imagine that she makes the right choice here, huh? God damn, I hope you enjoyed this episode on Sub-Level, friends. It's a heavy one. It's really some twisted turns. But shouts out to Phantom Danica for sharing it with me, and yeah, I'm glad all of you came here to watch it unfold. We've been going to some dark places in these dating stories recently, but I don't know if that one is going to be topped for quite some time. 5 years, $1,000. What the fuck? Whew. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you did enjoy it. Maybe share the video around. You can also follow me on social medias, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, all the places, all the things. Patreon memberships, YouTube memberships if you want to support me monthly, or the thanks button for a little one-time thing, you know? One of your dollars worth like 2-3 mine? Go ahead, extrapolate that. There is trace amounts of science in that statement. Even if you can't support, most important thing, you came through, hung out with me. I hope you'll come back, hang out again tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands. And most importantly, friend, always remember that you are loved. You are worthy. You definitely deserve it. And by it, I mean better than this.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
Twitch chat has just informed me that this OP deleted their account. Now I'm very sad.